Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Mandy. I'm going to do a little bloom on this 8-inch MDF, and I'm using up some old colors that are almost empty. So I'm going to show them to you, and I hope that this goes as it works in my head. So this is Naples Yellow Deep from Amsterdam. I got this at Blick. This is Buttercup from Colourarte. It's a little thick, but it's almost out, and I really love this color. I'm gonna drizzle a little blue black from Atelier. This is Tangerine Dream from Colourarte. Love it. Quinacridone Magenta from Atelier Free Flow. Diox Purple from Atelier Free Flow. Cobalt Teal from Glidden. I realize it's a lot of colors for an 8-inch bloom, but some of them will be kind of more major players than others. I'm going to put a little bit of Sonja in this Buttercup just to thin it down just a smidge. Excuse me, I'm still trying to decide if I want to use just a titanium white cell activator or a black and white. In my most recent bloom I did a black and white, and I really liked the way it turned out. I did leave a little bit too much cell activator in the center for that one. So yeah, I'm still trying to decide, but we'll just get started and see how it goes. So the pillow paint I'm using today is a Valspar. I always forget to tell you guys what exactly the can is, but I got it at Lowe's. It's an Eggshell. I'm going to say it says 2000 or something on the can, but it's an Eggshell paint. I really like it. Deborah Dunn recommended it in the Sheleeart group once, and I had like a store credit with Lowe's, so I went and got a few gallons of it to have on hand, and I do really like it. I think I like it every bit as much as my Glidden in Eggshell. Now, I didn't stir it up or anything because I really don't want to introduce any bubbles, but I just painted a couple days ago, so I can't imagine that it's all that separated. It does have, I mean, every paint has some bubbles, right? But it doesn't seem to have as many as the Glidden does sometimes, which was kind of a selling point for me. But you know, like, every paint can be different. You can have some that have almost none. You can go tell everyone you know, buy this one. It has no bubbles. And then they'll go buy it and it has 18,000 bubbles. So you never know. Can't tell if that's just thick paint right there. On some gloves here. So my thought is that I would go with the Naples Deep as my bottom layer. And then the Buttercup, and then drizzle a little bit of another color, then bring in the Tangerine Dream, and that's kind of my initial thought process. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Please let me know you're here. I do have discount codes in the description box below, so if there's 20% off for anything on the Colourarte website using Mandy1120. And if you find Eddie the Emu on the Colourarte website and add him to your cart, it's an additional savings. So I think right now it's $25 off. Now, depending on when you see this video, I don't know how long that will be the case, but that's really cool in addition to 20% off. So I also I use Australian Floetrol in my Cell Activator, and I buy that from Pixel Paint Designs. And there is a 10% discount code using Mandy10. She ships from the United States, and her prices are very competitive. So if you're buying your Australian Floetrol on eBay and waiting a long time and all that. Her prices are just as good, in my opinion, as that. And much better service, and ships here from the United States. So this is the Buttercup. And that's also where I buy my boom gels from too. So there's other things in her store. So this Buttercup is still really thick. It's going to make it hard to blow out the bloom because of it. So I think what I'm going to do, because I want to use it up, I think I'm going to kind of spread it to the outer edges. So we're kind of drizzling it, sort of. I love this color though. I definitely want to mix up another batch of this, but I'm trying to not mix up too many more new colors until I use up what's left. Now, I used it up, but the only downside is if for some reason I were to mess up this bloom, it would not be part of the next effort. So let's just hope I do not. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, now this blue black is just the very bottom of a mixed up little tub I have. I have more mixed up, but I'm just going to drizzle it in here for some contrast. Oops, that wasn't a very good drizzle, now was it? It's very thick, but okay, we'll probably drizzle some more somewhere else. All right, what in the world? So Tangerine Dream is next. I got something in my Tangerine Dream. Sorry about the frog in my throat. This one was also, this has been mixed up a while, so it was a little thick as well. So I put some Sonja in it. But yeah, I'm gonna have to bring my A game with my blow because these are all kind of thick and it will make it a little bit challenging to blow through them. Okay, I love this color. This color, I don't remember which set this was in, but this color and Cosmos from the same set are super cool. This one has like a color shifting where it shifts to blue, and it's really, really cool. The other one, Cosmos, is like a very frosty pink, and it looks great with certain colors. Like if you swipe it across a phthalo blue, super cool. All right, so I'm gonna, Diox Purple tends to take over, so I'm gonna just kind of drizzle some Diox Purple in a couple places. That's probably already too much. But I do like the way Diox Purple looks when Magenta is also next to it. So I'm also just gonna go ahead and use up this blue black. So, which I probably should have done closer to the top, but blue black is always a winner for me. So and then I'll be able to put this guy to the side. So what I do with these plastic containers that I get on Amazon, they're not amazing, by the way. Sometimes they're great, sometimes the lids break, but it's still nice that you can let the paint dry out. So like you can see how this is like this. I just set it aside open and let the paint dry out, and then I peel it out and then I reuse it. You could also soak them, I suppose, but what I do works for me. So we're gonna do the Magenta now. And sometimes I even do that with the disposable ones. It's just that you won't be able to do that forever, you know? I also have a link below in the description box where I show you how I mix for blooms and kind of some of the ingredients that I use in the United States that work for me. It's not the only things I use. I probably should go do an updated video of like, hey, these are the various things I have found now to use. But, so it's not completely comprehensive, but it is kind of a good idea, and it helps you understand if you're new to blooms, like what kind of pillow paint is suggested. This is the golden teal, by the way. What kind of house paint, untinted house paint, what to look for, those kinds of things that can be really confusing when you're first trying to learn. So that's in the description box below as well. I usually post it in every video just to have it as a reference. And I have all kinds of discounts in there, so don't forget to check it out. We're going to do just a smidge more Diox purple at the top, hoping for some cool cell effects with the teal and the magenta. All right. So if I do a black and white cell activator and I blow it right, which is always the wild card, the black will provide this really cool cell definition and the white will really be where most of the lacing is. If I put the white at the bottom, the white does the outlining, but the cells will be more big and bubbly. I kind of like doing the white on the bottom sometimes for coasters. I don't like it as much for larger blooms. So only thing that I sometimes have trouble with, well, it's not the only thing, but my black cell activator is Amsterdam lamp black, and it's been mixed up a while. My titanium white is M Graham, and it's a little bit more fresh. I really should mix up the M Graham black. I think the two would work better together. But so I'm going to put the black down first and the white on top. But one of the things that I'm still trying to kind of get a feel for is not using too much in the center, because when you use too much in the center, then you have difficulty getting it all the way around and not having a big puddle in the center that causes it to dry kind of wonky. But if you don't put enough, then you can't get your cell activator to cover all the way around, and then you reach a point when you're going around in the circle and it is like, oh crap, it ran out. So, you know, that's the difficulty, is just getting the right amount. On a 4-inch coaster, the right amount is usually just like, for me, like just taking that, and it ends up being like the size of a dime or a nickel. On this size, it kind of needs to be like a quarter or so in what it looks like, based on how I blow. Once you get better at the blow, I think it also can change. So those are the things, like, I'm super analytical, and so when I started trying to learn this technique, I would watch other people do that, and I'm like, how do you know how much to put down? And you know, so some of that you just get a feel for over time, but these are the things that, you know, you think about, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna try to get it just right. But that's part of the practicing part. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, if you're practicing blooms and you're getting frustrated, just know, like, this is a hard technique. It's not easy. It's something that takes time. Be patient with yourself. I've been doing blooms for like 2 years, and there's still days where I have major off days, you know, and some days are great successes and some days are not. And a lot of times it's the chemistry of what you're doing, right? Something can be off in your mix somewhere, or in one of your layers, or you can just have an off blow. Like, it's not going to be always simple to execute. So be patient with yourself, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Oops, that's probably too much. So when you blow down in the center, the goal is to open it up, pull your head back as you blow so that you widen your circle, and then from there blow out your petals. Now that's what you're supposed to do. Doesn't mean that's what I always do well. Now remember, my paint's too thick, right? Ooh. Oops. I'm trying to not get my hair in there. So my paint is way too thick. So I'm getting very lightheaded trying to get this accomplished. The bright side though is if you do get it blown out when your paint's too thick, the structure will hold up a lot better. But my paint was too thick and I used too much of it. So in order for me to get a decent blow, I'm having to, you know, blow with some force, but not so much that I'm getting down into the pillow paint, which is a challenging task. But the colors are super cool together. So I'm going to let it collect a little bit while I pop a little bit of these bubbles, and then I'll see where I can adjust and blow some more. Some parts of this are really cool though. My paint is so thick that I can't even catch the edge. See, what I'm trying to do is catch the tiny bit of Cell Activator that's there and see if I can't expand it a little bit. Let me see if I can zoom you in just a smidge so you can see a little bit better. Oh gosh, and that made me super lightheaded. Okay. All right, the center needs to break up a little bit, so I'm just going to gently blow with my turkey baster. And I'm just really breaking the surface tension. It'll allow some of those cells to come through on their own. I have too much pillow paint on here, so the parts that I didn't do a great job blowing out are probably still going to be okay as we spin. But I am trying to catch any places where I have some decent amounts of Cell Activator and see if I can't extend those petals. So you can see where I blew in the middle gently with the turkey baster, some cells are coming through. That will bring us a couple more. When you do that, you want to blow gently, very gently, just enough to kind of break the tension on the top. You're not trying to like create the cells with your breath. You're just trying to help kind of give them a place to come through. Some of them will come through on their own, but if it's really thick like that and there's a lot in the middle, a lot of times they won't come through on their own. Okay. Okay, so I'm just trying to be patient and give those cells a second to come through. So while we do that, I'm just doing some maintenance out here. Now I'm tempted to take my skewer to some of these places because of these ribbons of color in case they don't all spin to the edge. So just to make them look a little bit cleaner, like 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 this right here. That did not help anything. That still didn't, but hopefully that'll go to the edge. And I can't wait too long to spin, but I would like to give the middle just a little bit more help. That can be easily overworked too, though, to be honest. So, all right. Now, thinning down some of my thicker paints in the beginning definitely introduced some obnoxious bubbles that if we don't get them early on, sometimes they can cause some composition challenges as we spin out. So, just kind of tweaking those a little bit. Now sometimes if you can move the whole thing, if it moves in the center when you move it and doesn't fold around, if it seems like it's off center or there's one part that's going to be more challenging than another part, you can shift it. A lot of times if your paint's too thick or if you blow too hard or you're actually blowing down into the center, it won't move anymore. And if you try to do that, it can cause some serious composition issues. But if the whole thing moves, you can kind of shift it. So you can see how I kind of shifted it this way because this is going to be the more problematic side. All right, I think we're going to just have to spin because I'm not going to be able to get those places to move like I would like. And even these ribbons I'm creating are no bueno. So let's just give it a spin. Make sure I'm still in the camera view because I move it sometimes and think I'm exactly where I need to be and I'm not. There's some really weird cells in the middle here. If I take a step back and look at it, it doesn't bother me, but that's probably from me blowing a little bit too hard in the center to break the surface tension. They're strange looking. But I do think this is going to turn out pretty. Even though there's some challenges I'm facing in the interim, I do think once I get all this to the edges, or at least most of the center will kind of spread out to the edges. I think some of the detail is really cool. So, using too many colors like I did made the puddle a lot thicker. So it's hard to get the composition quite right if you can't make a decent dent in the blow, you know. So like the outer edges will show the lacing and stuff that we want, but you'll see the inner part will just mostly show the colors on the top because the paint was so thick I couldn't really blow down into all of it and get all the colors to show. So that's kind of the challenge we're facing here. All right, there's a bunch of bubbles. I'm gonna pop them and then I'll be right back. All right, there was a whole bunch of bubbles, but I got some of them. There was just way too many to spin it out any further because they were gonna keep presenting problemos. So I really love this overall. I definitely can't see as many of the colors on the bottom because of how much paint I used and how thick it was. But they are still going to show, especially after it's dry and resined. All right. Whichever one of my paints was not mixed very well has caused some serious massive bubble problems. I know that the magenta had been sitting a while, so I think it might be that one. So what I'm trying to get off now is this. Now I think we still have plenty of paint. I've been gently spinning up until now. So I kind of want what's in the center to go a little bit further to the edges. I can deal with this. I just want it a little bit further this way. We may not get that accomplished, but we're going to try. Paint's going everywhere else, but to the edge. So, but we're getting there. Well, I just got my hair in the paint always. So I don't know if you guys ever deal with this, but I pull my hair back and then I got to pull it back like even more because I have thin hair and it gets out and into things, like, you know. And so even though it's in a ponytail, I keep getting the ponytail part in the paint. Okay. I can live with it, for sure. I would like it to go just a wee bit more, but it may not do that. So, and the center is getting kind of crazy, so maybe I should leave it alone. Let's give it one more gentle spin. Some people really love the humongous cells, like what we have in the center. I like the small, tiny ones. That actually helped a little bit. So I like both, but if I have a preference, I like the small, tiny ones. And so when you use too much paint like this, you kind of have to overstretch to get it to the edge and get enough paint off. And then, of course, the more you spin, the bigger it's going to be. So let me bring you down for a close-up, and then I'm going to have a massive amount of bubbles to pop. I may have to do some repair on this one if those pop as it dries. But overall, I'm pretty pleased. I think it's beautiful. It's very colorful. Obviously, we don't see as much of the light colors that we put down because of so much paint. As I mentioned before, you can't completely break through that very easily. But I still like it, and I think it's beautiful. And I always love doing like a teal and a purple and magenta together. So I'm going to call it a win. But there's, you know, teachable moments in it for what I could have done differently to maybe let all the colors peek through. So sometimes less is more. I'm a work in progress like everybody else. So let me bring you down. All right, everyone. So here's our close-up. Obviously very colorful. Look how beautiful Cobalt Teal is. I love this color. And I like that it is a little less opaque than regular teal from Golden because I feel like it just plays really well with other colors. So I absolutely do love this. It's very colorful. What I would like to see more of are these kinds of cells and lacing. And in order to kind of see that throughout, I would have needed to use less paint. So those are teachable moments. That's why we practice. But I love the colors. Look at that Tangerine Dream. That's what's sparkling right there. So it might be kind of unassuming because it's a semi-transparent color, or more of a transparent color. That's what pigments usually are. But when you resin this, like right now, you see mostly all of the bold colors. But when you resin it, you'll be able to see the pop of the Buttercup like that. And that Tangerine Dream will really pop. The reason I kind of used some of the blue-black in the lower layers is because the way the Tangerine Dream looks when it's stretched across that darker color is really quite amazing. So here's a good example of it right here. See how it's kind of stretched out over those colors. So you can see a lot of those tiny little cells. Those are stupid bubbles that I popped. So there's a bunch of them. So we're just going to pretend we wanted them there like that. This was kind of the weird cells in the middle I mentioned to you. They're strange looking. I might have overworked the middle a little bit, which, you know, it's all right. This is one of my favorite parts right here. Look at the detail in this little cluster of cells. It's really cool. So anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. If you're new, I would love it if you like and subscribe. Let me know you're here. Thank you so much for everyone who continues to support me and watch the journey. And, you know, I try to share my fails with you too. So this is kind of like a little journal for me too, because I go back and try to figure out what I did to create something and, you know, what I could do with similar colors if I were to do it again. So thanks for watching. Thank you for all your support and all your kind words. Appreciate you guys. Bye.